Welcome to Wednesday. Today, I have a request, and my nephew is going to college, so I wanted to build him a gaming PC. He is a gamer. He's definitely the best 2K player that I've ever seen, and I know that he's beaten a fair amount of ranked players online. I don't know that they're going to admit to that, but he has. He's pretty good. So, and we were going back and forth between Intel and AMD. So on the Intel side, we have a 10700KF, and on the AMD side, we have a Ryzen 5700X. We settled on the Intel for now, and we'll do the AMD for a different build. So I'll just go over what we're gonna do. In the computer, we have a obviously 10700K, right? I think that's 6 or 8 cores on there. I can't remember. I believe it's 8 cores. We've got 16 gigs of Vengeance LPX 3200 megahertz RAM. We've got a 1 terabyte Western Digital Black gaming hard drive. And then we've got a Z590 Vision D Creator board. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's a great value, and this is kind of, so the idea is not to build him like the best and super innovative gaming PC. It's gonna be something that's portable and affordable, right? Oh, I forgot to mention, we did splurge on a 1060 Ti, GeForce RTX 1060 Ti. I'm not sure if you can see that. Super cool. So that's gonna be nice. It's gonna give him plenty of headroom for definitely for 1080p gaming. It's gonna get great performance. You know what else I forgot to show you guys? The case. We chose the HYTE Revolt 3. If you notice, it's got a carrying handle, but there's also something interesting. There are bars that recess, that come out, and what I thought about this was it would be, oh man, I wish I had something that I could show you really quickly. I don't have it right now, but it looks like a mount. So you can mount a camera right from your PC on your desk, and you can stream. So that's what I think it's going to be most used for. So let's get this thing put together. This one also came with a 750 watt power supply. That's kind of why we went with this one. This is kind of everything in there. So we have everything that we need to build a pretty solid gaming PC, a small form factor gaming PC in my opinion. So let's start getting this stuff opened up and unboxed. Let's put this down here. The case is really nice. The case is really nice. Everything is hidden. You got your basic power switch, and everything is kind of routed where it needs to go. I love this because no screw case design, which is fantastic for the sides. They just pop right off, and we're good to go. Oh, another thing that I highly recommend that I learned from this last build was iFixit. Here, let me get that in focus. iFixit. This kit, I mean, they have smaller ones, right? They have I had it somewhere, but there's a smaller one that gives you kind of like the basic, but that iFixit kit is a lifesaver because it just has, you don't have to go searching for things. It has everything that you need. Thing going. So we've actually got some cooling that we're gonna use. We're actually gonna put a AIO in here. Yeah, see, I love this. This is perfect. So this thing swings out, swings in. It's really, really good design. The cables are routed already. It comes with, I don't know if we're gonna stick with these. Gotta take a look at the power supply. We'll probably just stick with those and make it easy. All right, so we will get the motherboard mounted up in here. A lot of people are saying, you know, don't buy a PC now. Now's not a good time, but I disagree. I think that it's a great time to build a PC, especially if you're not like a professional gamer. Why spend all that money on this new hardware that's gonna have issues? You know it's gonna have issues with drivers and all that stuff. Why not, you know, why not invest in a proven platform that you can grow into? Even though these, like the LGA 1200, I mean, there's some headroom there, plenty of headroom for the LGA 1200. Same thing for the AM4, right, on AMD. Plenty of headroom. I mean, 5950X is what I'm running in my system, and my goodness, I mean, I don't know that I'll ever need to really upgrade that. At least I can't find a use case for it right now. But I guess as new technology comes, like they'll figure out a way to get you to spend money. But I mean, for the normal guy and girl, everyday kind of user, there's really no reason to stress over like Ryzen 7000 and all this other stuff. Like it's just really. So this is really interesting because the motherboard actually mounts down into, now I don't know if you can see that, but the motherboard actually mounts down into the case so that your ports are coming out of the back. That's why this case is pretty cool. Just remember that if you're adding, like if you want to plug in USB stuff, you're only limited to 2 USBs, and then you got a USB-C up front. It's kind of, but I mean, most of the stuff, having the cables come out the back is going to be perfectly fine. So I think that'll be all right. We'll see though. So it's pretty easy. Actually, what I would like to do before I do, well, let's just test it. Very simple. 4 screws and you're done. There's plenty of room in here to work, so that's exciting. Yeah, that's very exciting. And then let's just make sure our video card is going to fit, which I can't see why it wouldn't. I'll be honest with you, it is a close squeeze. It is a squeeze over here with the let's see here. I wonder if we're gonna keep that cage on there. We're probably gonna have to remove that. It is a close squeeze with the power supply mounted where they are. So that's interesting. So this doesn't really give you a ton of options. The NR200P though gives you many options to mount all kinds of different equipment in all kinds of different configurations. It's one of the benefits of that. It is a little bit, it's a little bit longer and tall. So it is a little bit bigger than this, but I mean, still, it's a fantastic, it's a fantastic kit. All right, so let's just put this to the side for a second. We'll get back to that. And let's work on our Mobo. And this is exactly what I'm saying. Like, you gotta understand, like this motherboard was probably $300 when it was like first came out. This is the Creator Series. This is gonna be a top quality motherboard PC build. Like, you need to understand that. Like, this is a super quality, and we didn't pay that. We just simply did not pay that for by waiting. So in my opinion, I think it's a great time. It's a great time to build a computer, especially for the, back to school, going to college, want to stay out of trouble. Also want to have a good time, right? Yeah, this is crazy. This is a 10th gen Core i7. It's not large. It's definitely way smaller than I'm used to seeing. Perfect. Okay. And you're locked in. So we got our processor installed. I'm actually gonna wait on our memory because what I need to do now is figure out, let's just install the memory. Where is the knife? I mean, there is a lot of thought that goes into these builds while you're doing it. So that's why I'm saying, like, get one under your belt, right? Get one under your belt, get familiar with how things go together. And so if you're gonna do that, like, I think it makes sense to practice now on equipment that's less expensive. This is really great. Memory DDR4. I mean, this computer is going to be fantastic for years. It's going to be really good for years. One thing we're going to need is cooling. So we're going to need to figure that out. So right now, installing we're going to be installing the heatsink. This is just a really quality. This is a really quality board, and it's amazing that you can get this. That you can get this quality. For this price. So we've got our heatsink for our drive. And again, we went with the Western Digital Black. 1 terabyte, more than enough storage. You can also add plenty of room to add some slave storage. So let's get this thing in here. This is wonderful. And again, this stuff kind of just goes in where it fits. For what we're going to use, there is a small fitting on this board. I mean, I don't know that you'll use this, but there is a small fitting that you need to take out. So we got it out. Oh, like butter. Now, we'll mount our heatsink back in there. That is a thing of beauty. Okay. Now we can get our heatsink back on. Boom. Essentially what we have here, we have a computer. This is it. This is the computer. So what we're gonna also need to do is figure out cooling. And I think for this build, we're gonna go with, we're gonna use water cool. We're gonna use an AIO. So we'll get this thing opened up. Kraken X53. So I've used this before. It's pretty basic. All right. So what's in the box? Comes with an AIO and a radiator. Your RGB cables. You've also got fans. And you've got your mounts, right? So that's going to be your, depending on what you're using. And then it comes with a radiator. So, where are we at? Here's where our things are. And they're basically going to tell us exactly what we need. So they're going to say, okay, this is definitely what you need for the we're going to need this is going to be our mount for Intel. Okay, it's gonna be our mount for Intel, and then, oh yeah, it's already got the Intel bracket on, mounted already.
A few moments later.
Are we gonna be able to use it? So there's your first lesson in small form factor building. It's tight spaces in there, and you gotta have the right equipment for your build. So when we built on the AX Pro, small form ITX Pro Wi-Fi, and we fit it no problem with this one. But that was AMD, so it's a little bit of a narrower. I don't know. It fit no problem. This one doesn't fit, so we're gonna swap it out. Fortunately, we had some extra equipment. That would be devastating, right? You buy all your equipment and then it doesn't fit. So definitely, you can definitely consult YouTube on that. Let's just reinstall our memory. Actually didn't need to take this out, but that's one thing, that's something that you'll, right? We learned that if you're gonna use the NZXT X53 on the Gigabyte Z590i ITX motherboard, it does not fit. So you can go with the, what did we end up using? We used this FrostFlow from ID Cooling. FrostFlow ID Cooling, it's a 240. And actually, I don't even know why I didn't go with this one from the first place, because it's beautiful. It fits our build and what we're trying to accomplish and all that. So I don't know, should have did that in the first place. So I think that we're ready to mount this puppy into the case. So I mean, that's pretty awesome. I mean, that's perfect. It's actually perfect. Oh, kind of perfect. Radiator out there. So our motherboard is snapped in and we are ready to install. All right. Then we're going to mount a radiator. Yeah, this is rough. Small form factor is it's just challenging. It's just really challenging. It really is. So we're gonna make an adjustment to this case. and because in order to incorporate our cooler, we want to use this cooler, and really it's any AIO. Unless you're doing a custom loop, this is going to be a problem for you. So if you're building with this, what is it, a HYTE? It's called the HYTE Revolt 3, excuse me, the HYTE Revolt 3 case. You're gonna use an AIO, you're gonna want to use this hack. And essentially, what we're doing is we're cutting. You can see that. I don't know if you can really see that, but this is a power supply caddy, and you can put like, I guess like a 3.5-inch drive in here. But nobody uses that. So I don't know why it's really here. This should actually be designed as a plate that's removable. So I hope HYTE, if you're listening, and please share this video, like and subscribe it, right? So that we can get this message to them, because I mean, overall, this case is phenomenal. So far, my experience so far, the case is phenomenal. But that's a problem, because, you know, I mean, everybody really wants to use it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. The AIOs are cool. You could probably accomplish the same exact thing with a nice stock cooler that is not liquid cooled. Let me not say stock cooler, but let me say passive, right? And probably be just fine. But because you should really have that option, and this is a design flaw. So now when you build with a custom AIO, well, then you can do, a custom loop, you can do whatever you want. And maybe this won't be an option, but I still think this caddy should be removable and not part of the design. So we're gonna cut it. We're gonna cut it out, and we're not gonna cut it all, but we're gonna cut enough of it so that our AIO loop can go down and not be interrupted and still work, still give us what we're looking for. So that's what we're gonna do, and you'll hear a little, actually, I'll probably just, we'll come back after we make the cut, all right? So we trimmed out this little piece of material. You can see that. See that? Trim that out. Really doesn't need to be there. They really need to take this whole entire plate. It's like an L, and they need to make that whole entire thing removable. That will make this case unbelievable. What we did do, because there is a sharp edge in there, I don't know, but like on the bottom of your like video cards or risers, they come with these little plastic things. So we just cut one end so that we could slide it on. This way we have these braided lines. They're protected. This thing will stay put. Plastic, no big deal. Where they need to go, there's plenty of room, and it fits like a glove, ladies and gentlemen. Fits like a glove. And that's it. We got our cooler on. Got our AIO on. So this wasn't terrible. This was not terrible at all. We also I decided to remove this back plate just to give me more access. I would recommend removing that. But this part is removable with 2 screws. The other part is not. That whole piece needs to come off. It'll give you so much more in terms of flexibility when it comes to mounting in this case. Fantastic. So, motherboard down here, as you can see, Mobo down there, and then this is what the graphics card side looks like. It's just hanging in there. It will support a full-size card for if you wanted to go bigger and beefier. Nobody's going to tell me that this case isn't pretty amazing. And there you have it. It also comes with this. That's amazing. They thought of everything. So this actually comes with the motherboard. This is your Wi-Fi. We can probably hide this in the case in somewhere. Not on this side. We can totally probably hide it. We're definitely going to do that. So we can hide this baby like just right in here. Route the controls through down here. All of our other stuff is. Okay. That's pretty amazing. So look, we hid the Wi-Fi inside the case. You can see it right there. That's your Wi-Fi dongle. I mean, if it doesn't work like you expect, you can always take it out of there. But yeah, this thing is awesome. This is an awesome little case. I'm super impressed with this, man. This is really nice. I think it turned out beautiful, and I think he's gonna really like this. So let's I say we power it on. Let's do that. So one thing to remember is that when you buy a case and it has all of the, like it has a pre-installed power supply, many times, like you'll see here, there is a power supply interaction switch here, right, where you can turn it on and off, turn it on and off. But this is just a remote, right? There's still gonna be the actual power supply on and off switch here. So that's what you want to make sure you have on before you close it up, or if you do any type of troubleshooting, when you're feeling like, why don't I have any power? Yeah, so we've got juice. So what's important, I don't know if you guys can see this. So we've got juice. So what's important to remember is that, especially when you're dealing with AIOs, you always want the rad ports above where your CPU or the pump is gonna be. So just remember that. And you may hear some air bubbles going through and things like that, but I mean, we're in good shape. We're posting, as you can see. So we'll get a keyboard and mouse installed, and we'll try to get this thing going. But this is great. So far, this has been a fantastic build. So we'll get Windows installed, and then we'll come right back and we'll kind of go through what kind of speed we're getting, what kind of temperature we're getting, and then we'll see how everything came together. So you may be wondering why the case is open and we have it all apart. Well, we ran into a problem. And the problem is with the components that we chose, there is a limitation, a PCIe limitation. So the ITX version of this motherboard, yes, it's an LGA 1200, but if you're using a 10700K, you cannot use the top M2 slot. And that is a absolute no-go for us for this build. Why? Well, because there's only one other M2 slot for our NVMe drive, and if we use the 10700K, we don't get to use the top M2, we have to use the bottom one, and that bottom M2 shares the same PCI bus with the PCIe bus with the graphics card. So basically, your graphics card, that PCI lane is cut in half. So you can only run it at 8x and not 16x. So for us, that was a no-go. We did not want to move forward with that. It's a gaming PC, so we want to make sure that our video card has everything that it needs to perform at a really high level. Okay, so 10700 will be used for something else. So we ran over to Micro Center and we picked up an 11700K. And the 11700K in this configuration allows us to use that top M2 slot and thus solves our problems. So we ran out, got it, we're gonna install that, get everything buttoned back up and get back into Windows, and I'll show that to you guys, but you'll see it come up in the BIOS and everything like that. But all right, so we'll see in a bit. Okay, so let's go into hardware monitor. And as you can see, I'll zoom in on this, but you can see the temperatures, you know, when it reboots, it spikes up to what? About 43, maybe the top, yeah, like let's say 43 degrees Celsius. But really, when it's just sitting idle, it's running at a beautifully cool 26, 27, 28, around there. So, I mean, really, really, really great performance. It's super quiet. It's a fantastic, I mean, the HYTE Revolt 3 is an amazing case. It's great to build in. If you're gonna use liquid cooling, like I said, there's gonna be a mod. I really hope, I mean, if you would share this with the case vendor, you know, I really hope that they take that, because that honestly would elevate this to compete with like you're up there with like Meshalicious. What's wrong with me today? Meshalicious and stuff like, and that tier case, if they make that one mod, because I mean, everything fits in here beautifully. Everything fits beautifully. It is a fantastic build. My experience, great thermals, especially with the liquid cooler, as long as you position your fans to do what they really need to do. You want to be pulling that air out of the case, pushing it out of the case, excuse me. But so far, super happy with the build. We'll get this over to my nephew, and we'll see how it goes. Well, listen, thank you for putting up with us. Really appreciate it as we get settled into the new space. And we'll be coming at you with plenty more build videos, and I've got a ton of unboxings to do for little things that we picked up along the way. So looking forward to sharing that with you guys. Thanks for tuning in to Wednesday, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.